Pre-show banter. So.
Got a hot mic. Jamie's gonna start singing. Hey, Queen of... Oh, wait. I have to unmute. Unmute. Hey, did I see Queen of Wands? Check it in. We're almost ready to go live here. Almost 5:30 Eastern Time.
Hey now. Say okay there. Do that. Say we don't care on that. Click this.
Click that.
Bring this around. There we go. It's over here. Life's complete.
Right.
Almost there.
Almost. 1 minute to go.
Excitement amounts.
Drum roll.
Yeah, now I'm gonna have that song stuck in my head.
You say goodbye. I say hello.
So, we got almost
Half a minute.
almost
Oh, I got a 5:30 in mine.
tension mounts. Oh, so do I.
Cool. Hello.
Hi, my name is Jamie.
And I'm Michael.
And this is the Two of Wands, where we are going through all of the cards in the tarot deck.
One by one.
One by one. We don't know if we're going to do the minors, but I don't see why we would stop.
Let's keep going.
So, yes, but right now we're on Temperance. And hey, Michael,
Yes.
why? What was one of the main reasons why we're doing this?
We are doing this.
Because you're creating a deck.
That is the main reason.
Do we need to go through the whole story?
Let's just do it really quickly because I got a lot of stuff for Temperance.
Oh, okay. So the big reason why we're doing it is to save our marriages, our relationships, because me and Mike would get together and we would talk for hours and hours and hours about the tarot during dinner, and our significant others would want to strangle us. So we made the agreement that me and Michael are not going to talk about the tarot at all until we get together one day a week on Wednesday so we can discuss it. And he can apply this to his tarot deck that he is creating. So Michael's creating a deck. And that's what started this whole thing and why we started having all those discussions. So, and I'm excited to maybe one day see that.
It will.
I've seen the cards. You don't get to see the cards. He's not letting you all see the cards.
It's a top secret, but you can see other my offbeat artwork at offbeatartwork.com or artieforever.com to kind of see my style. But eventually you'll get to see these cards like Jamie.
And that's cool.
But yeah, we do this. MyTarot.org gets you to the MyTarot Facebook page.
Yep.
Where we hang out and talk about tarot, and these are our weekly chats. So
Yeah. And he's got his own website at artieforever and
offbeatartwork.com.
and offbeatartwork.com.
Yep.
But yeah, so at MyTarot.org, it's got the links. I should actually, there is a link to yours. I have a links page. So Michael's down there on the bottom right-hand side. All the links are everywhere. Life's complete. We can die happy people. Thank you very much. This was fun.
And now it's the real show.
Oh, okay.
So, Temperance, Jamie. What do you like to start with the definition of the word?
I do. Well, Merriam-Webster says temperance is moderation in action, thought, and feeling.
And I've got to mix and combine properly. Going back to the root word temper, which means to add and mix ingredients to make them better.
Yes, and I knew, because you're going to touch more on the esoteric.
Yes, indeed.
And I touch a lot on the secular. So I also have Temperance, where there's a little bit more of a description. It's generally characterized as control over excess and expressed through characteristics such as chastity, modesty, humility, self-regulation, hospitality, decorum, abstinence, and forgiveness. Each of these involve restraining an excess of impulse such as sexual desire, vanity, or anger. So, and that's how, and the reason why I read it, that's how most people see the Temperance card. But there's a lot more.
But there's more.
There's a lot more to it than just temperance regulating your impulses.
Sure. But before we get into the cards, I wanted to do a few expressions. So,
give me some expressions.
Okay, so the French, there's a French expression. To temper one's wine with water.
Yep.
And this means, it originally meant to calm one's temper down. But it has come to mean to make concessions about principles, both good and bad. So that fits very, very nicely with the whole idea of temperance. And let's see, what the other one that I had.
Well, I tell you, I've got one with the Greeks and Romans.
Yeah.
Which is to mix water with wine, but technically they were putting wine into their water more than they were putting water into their wine. Back then, wine was seen as a way to purify and improve the taste of often stagnant water.
Right.
And also, it's in Homer. And in Homer, did you know that? Yeah. So in Homer, it even tells you what to do. A ratio of 20 parts of water to 1 part of wine is mentioned, but other accounts put it closer to 3 or 4 parts of water to 1 part of wine. And the basic gist is that if you have stagnant water, if you know,
decontaminate that.
Yeah. So you want, and also improve the taste of it, because stagnant water that's been sitting for a while, that will help to improve the taste.
But you're not going to get drunk off this. and
that's part of the temperance.
Right. And as they say, as the Greeks said, nothing too much. So you just, most things are good in moderation.
Yeah.
So yeah, find that golden mean.
What else?
All
did
that
you get?
stuff.
Yep. What else did you get?
Okay. So did you know that in the 14th century, the Temperance card was actually called the Optimist?
Oh, I did not. I have never heard that. Okay,
Yeah.
sources.
My source is Ellen Goldberg, and I thought you would get a kick out of that, so I made sure to get the source.
Yeah, I always want the sources.
Yeah, but doesn't that fit? So
say it again.
The Optimist. It was called the Optimist, right? And I think that is
in the 14th century, because it's a virtue.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But why
would it be called the Optimist? So
was this a card that was called that, or?
She just said that the Temperance card used to be called this, and I found that fascinating because, what is the virtue of temperance? It's to provide us with a divine grace needed to face the tests and challenges, because we got a whole bunch of tests and challenges coming up after this with the devil and the tower and all that good stuff. But it's giving you this divine grace, one of the virtues. So it's coming from, a higher source, but it's bestowing on you optimism and serenity so that you can look at things that are a trial in a good way and in a way that is peaceful so that you can get through them. So I think that is an interesting, so to call it the Optimist,
it is
fits sort of.
It is, but I'm kind of curious how that would fit in, because obviously the virtues were, the Plato came up with the cardinal virtues, and then the church had the cardinal virtues.
Oh, they had the it was theological virtues. And
right.
Yeah.
But so who came up with the Optimist?
I don't know. It was just she just said that it was just an alternate title for the card in the early days.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. Okay.
But going to can I continue on that path?
I want you to.
So on that path, so the other virtues that we've already done, justice. You had the cerebral sword that subdues the lower aspects. With fortitude, you had the higher aspect, having mastery.
Yeah, these are the other two virtues.
The other virtues, right? That
are in the cards, definitely there.
Yep. So with fortitude, you've got the maiden and the lion, and her higher aspect is having mastery over the lower beast. But this time, it's with love.
Okay.
And then temperance, it's the higher and lower aspects again, but this time it's unified by the liquid flow of water. So it's interesting how each of the virtues has this lower and higher aspects and their relationship to each other.
So, would you like to know what the early 4th century catechists had to say?
I would. Oh wait, no,
about
maybe
the water and wine?
Maybe I don't.
Well, and as we know that the tarot really does have a lot of, it has a religious foundation.
Absolutely.
Regardless of anything else.
Yeah.
But so in the 4th century, they explained that the water represented humanity and the wine divinity.
Okay.
And so once you put the water into the wine, it's impossible to take it out again because of Jesus. Humanity can never again be separated permanently from God. So again, I'm not religious at all, but we have to look at the religious aspects.
Sure.
And so when I read that, it's like, and it's true, once you mix the water with the wine, again, it says it's impossible to take out again.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but I, barring all that, I did like the fact that water could represent humanity and wine divinity or spirituality.
Yeah. And that carries over to...
And that's a spirit, wine, spirit.
Yep.
So I did like that.
Sure. And I've heard the liquid represents thesis and antithesis. As you pour them together, when joined, they become the divine synthesis. So it's again, it's the mixing of opposites to form that unified.
It's the
better,
yin and the yang.
Yeah. And then I've got so Carl Jung. His concept of synchronicity combines the inner psyche, or the subconscious, with the physical world, the conscious. That's, his... And that kind of works with the whole idea of the alignment of individual will with divine will. So it's the kind of... Your physical world, your personal will, I want this. But then it aligns with your subconscious, your higher self, the divine will, your true purpose. And when those two are in conjoinment with each other, that's when, mountains get moved.
And that's Neil Young?
Not Neil Young. That's Carl Jung.
Yes, it's a process of burning out or fade away. To quote Neil Young, brother of Carl Young.
Brother from another mother.
Yes. Okay, so, that makes sense.
Yep.
What else you got?
Let's see, what else I got? All right, if you want to go more occulty, the joining of opposite forces in a non-destructive manner is a magical act. And you'll see in this card, often the water defying gravity. She's pouring it in a way that looks like it's couldn't be possible. So it's Levi calls this the Elixir of Life, but it's a magical act that is, these joining of opposite forces, but not in a way that will destroy either of them.
Right.
It's that equal.
And it's also it's an alchemical process.
Well, yeah, and I've got a whole bunch more.
I'm sure you know about that one. But yep.
But just generally speaking, it's equilibrium, which is like the key to a lot of occult science. Is equilibrium. So it's hitting on the generalities of that magical water.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So.
And also, then the metaphysical. Well, you know what? I'll actually cover a different part of it when we get to when we start looking at the meanings later, and stuff. Yeah. So go ahead. Yep. I have something along that line. So, but yes.
Cool. I can't wait. Okay. Going to the Hebrew letter that's associated with this card.
Yeah.
Samech, which means tent peg. And the tent peg keeps the tent up, just as our guardian angel keeps us up.
Here, I can even show what that is.
Yep.
Just by going here.
There we go.
Because I know that the good old Wirth Tarot has got the Hebrew letter.
Yes, it does.
And that's the Hebrew letter right there. Doo-doo.
Yeah. So that's Samech.
I'll show yours also.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
See?
I got it.
Okay. We have two different streams going on here at the same time.
Yeah. So
One day we'll actually just merge them together.
One day, like Temperance.
Like, yes.
But yeah. So it's that guardian angel that keeps us up. Again, giving us that grace, that virtue. So it's that tent peg kind of thing going on.
Well, a guardian angel, but it's curious because
in the original, right?
in the original,
she doesn't look that angelic, but she kind of is.
yeah. And so I tell you, as a matter of fact,
She becomes an angel quickly.
So when we go here, well, you know what? So
What you got?
we'll go there. No. So we'll go first. We'll go with what we're talking about now. But then when we want to cover some more history,
Okay.
I'll let you keep doing what you're doing.
You can do some sidelines or some history if you want. If you want to go to the ancient world, Temperance is linked to Aphrodite, the goddess of art and beauty.
Oh,
Did you know that?
no, I didn't. But I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, okay. And what I had here was some pictures.
Yeah. Show us some history.
So here we have 1252, and so you can see it looks almost just like the
Like the Temperance card.
like the Temperance card that we have now, where they're pouring, and some of them they originally, and here we have 1470.
Yeah, it's a
It's
classical
going
archetype.
into a bowl.
Yep. But you
Instead
get that
of
water.
one jug to the other, exactly. And then I've been here. Oh, this is magnificent. How am I going to pronounce it right? Regia di Lenzi. So when I went to Italy, oh, this was so beautiful. And just to have the amazing statuary just sitting out here.
Yeah.
But I never noticed up top
Oh,
here.
look at that.
From 1386. They've got Temperance sitting up there. And so when I went there, I'm sure I looked at these, but I just never noticed that Temperance was up there. So that's 1386. So this is where they're pulling the information for the cards. And when we get to the cards, we'll see those. So I just thought that was some of these were really beautiful and pre-tarot.
Yeah, well, Temperance being one of the virtues, you've got that archetype being represented in statues and paintings way before the cards were made.
Right.
But it is because it's one of those virtues, and in the original Visconti decks, you've got the additional virtues of faith, hope, and charity that are not included in most modern tarot decks. Now I'm bringing those back in my 100-card deck,
Right.
But most decks don't include those, or what's the other one? Prudence.
Right.
Those are kind of weeded out. But I felt that was kind of a shame, so I'm bringing them back. You're gonna have all 7 virtues.
Yeah, so how many cards are going to be in your deck?
100 cards. It's gonna be a complete rectified tarot.
Complete rectified tarot.
Yep.
So and the thing is, for as you were saying, is you don't have to use all 100. He's hoping we do.
You can
pull out. It's going to have all the regular cards.
all the regular cards. So if you're just comfortable with using the 72, just use those. That's fine. But if you are feeling adventurous, you can use these additional cards that are in a lot of these older decks that just were faded out over the years. But I'm pulling them all back in, so I'm having like I said, a rectified deck.
That's cool.
Yeah. But that's still to come.
Okay.
What do we got for more today? You want me to go
You
further?
ready to start going to the... Well, what do you got?
Okay.
Do you want to jump into the Visconti yet, or have you got some more facts?
I've got... I don't have any more on the Visconti, so if you've got more, let's talk about
take a look at it. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to show... So, the original decks... Screen here. Is that... the original tarot, so you originally had the pip cards, they come from the Middle East, and then a game was developed of trumps where each successive card was worth more than the other, and they could capture, you know, so...
The triumph over the other.
Temperance would be able to capture death, blah, blah, blah. So here's something interesting.
Yes.
In the order that they've laid down that the virtues are, because there's 7 and there's an order to them.
Yeah.
Did you know Temperance is the last?
No.
Or it's further. So it's the last in the 3 that we have in the tarot. So Justice and Strength are actually in the list higher than Temperance. But in the tarot deck, they put Temperance higher than those 2.
Yeah.
And I could not find a reason why.
Well, I know that Prudence usually comes later because they say that you need Prudence to understand the other virtues.
Right.
And they usually put Charity, aka Love, last because of faith, hope, and charity, and the greatest of these is love. So Charity, or aka Love, usually comes later, but Temperance being last.
Petrarch put Chastity second. So the order that Petrarch's got for his triumph is love, parades. Chastity, death, fame, time, and eternity.
Yeah, there was a lot of mixing around the orders,
but
especially in the early.
But it's officially So it's funny because the church sees the other 2 before. I mean, after. Temperance comes before those, and so it's just interesting that in the game of trumps,
it's reversed.
Temperance which probably is the way that they probably want to teach it anyway, because you want Temperance over Strength and you want Temperance over Justice. I would imagine, maybe that's what they were thinking, as opposed to what the church would have, because Strength over everything, And then you might have a duke saying, you know what's more important? How about some temperance? Right. And this was a gift for the duke.
Right.
So these 3...
But with the tarot, with the game of triumphs, you're absolutely right. One triumphs over the other, and there's certain rank. But as you get into more divination and fortune telling, I see the ordering not mattering as much as the cards have equal weight. In divination, one card isn't really triumphing over another one.
But I still look at it, and we both look at it, but the numerology of it.
Numerology, absolutely. That's important.
Right, and so it still weighs differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Hierophant is still over top of the Emperor because we actually know who wields true power. And it's not the Emperor, it's the church.
Right. Or you can think of it as your spirituality is on a higher level than any rulership on an earthly plane. So it's
which is what happens when you get into the later cards.
Which is right. Yeah, but it's the same thing.
Because religion is a man-made product.
Right, and it's representing something higher. So so that's why it's a 5. It's higher than the Emperor, but not quite as high as these eternal truths that come
exactly.
Even
so
higher.
It's not up there.
Yep. But it's
Okay. So I got these cards here just so that we could show what the original ones were. Mm-hmm. And so we've got the ST's deck from 1743. We've got the Charles VI, and I figured you were going to touch on the halo.
So with the Charles VI, you've got this black spiderweb halo that is signifying this as one of the virtues, and with the other virtues in that deck, they also have that black polygonic halo.
And I could not so you kind of see a halo here, but I could not figure out why. I looked online. I couldn't find what the actual meaning was because the virtues have the webs or the headdress around.
So it's so instead of a.
But I couldn't find it. I wanted something that actually documented and said historically this is why.
Yeah, I know the reason. I don't have a source for you, but I do know the reason. So in art, you'll see divine. Halos and stuff for saints and
absolutely
right,
yes.
But it's a circle, and the polygonal halo is more for archetypes, so virtues and that kind of thing, as opposed to a saint or a heavenly person. So that's why you've got the polygonal, because this is a virtue.
Yeah. So I do know that it represents virtue.
Yep.
I didn't notice, but this person needs some Rogaine.
Well, the high foreheads were all the rage back then.
and that is the Visconti, which is from 1475, between 1475 and 1490. So these are all the mid-late 1400s. And again, this is the original one. This is the first ones that came out. And then we have Gwen is asking, what do you think the face below on this one signifies? The image of the site in Italy. So are we talking about when I went to...
The face below.
Oh,
yeah, look at that. The upside down.
Thank you, Gwen. Wow.
I'm not sure.
You know, so this one here, and again, so when we look at the Viscontis and those, they don't have wings. The wings on the tarot came later. So this is an angel.
Yep, but she...
And is this over the fall of man? Okay.
That's a good...
That's something I'm going to have to look up. Yeah, that's a great observation.
Yeah, but look at the halo. See how it's polygonal?
With the hair like that. Yeah.
Well, the polygonal.
Right. Look at that.
The halo is polygonal. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not a circular. It's got the angles to it.
Okay, so I didn't look up the word polygonal, and I love having sources for stuff. That's my raison d'etre is to have a source. Yeah. But thank you, Gwen, for pointing that out.
Because the bottom. The bottom
give
face
you a
is
little heart for that. That's a heart right there. That's an absolute heart. Okay, so
moving back
to the Visconti, and again, so we don't have wings here.
Not yet.
So the early Temperance didn't have wings. Temperance is wearing a spiderweb headgear, typical of the virtues. And I even put in their sources. And now Michael is now my source.
That's right.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
So how do you spell that? So I'll figure out how to spell it.
Auger. Auger.
Well, yeah.
Polygonal. Yes.
Yeah, I'll look at it because that's great. I was wondering.
Yeah, that's an art reference.
Yep.
You know.
Cool. Okay, so.
Anyway. Okay.
So we've got these three here.
Yep.
And they are hand painted. They were gifts. Nice upgrade, Michael. So, and these were created. These were vanity decks because they weren't creating them yet. They weren't wood blocks. They weren't for mass production yet.
Well, they might have been, but we don't have any in existence.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we come along when we start seeing like things like the Rosenwald collection, and we can see that. We move on.
A simplified.
And then we start seeing
mass
people,
production.
You know, in the 1600s start creating woodcuts, and then you can start using them for gambling and other vices.
You start getting moving along to the Noble Marseille decks.
Yep.
Where.
So here's a Rosenwald, and we're going to go to, and we're right outside of DC.
Yeah.
So we are going to go to the National Gallery to check out the Rosenwald here, because that is just something.
Yeah.
We had to restart the feed. Thanks, OBS.
Yeah. Okay. We're back. We're back.
Failed to configure.
Oh, come on.
Oh, what is going on here?
Hang in there.
Oh, we are live.
Okay, excellent.
So, are we live?
Yes, we are.
Let me confirm.
You want to double check?
Sorry about that, Chiefs. All you Chiefs out there. Sorry, we're having trouble. Okay, that's fine. It does that.
Hang in there. Be patient and optimistic.
I know. Come on, we can do this. Are we live?
You tell me.
Wow, that's the first time we've had that happen. It says we're live.
Okay. We're back.
It says we're...
Yep, we're back.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well,
All right.
Anywho's...
Back to regular scheduled talk.
Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay. Oh, Gwen says we're doing great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Gwen.
Appreciate your patience.
Yeah. Okay, so
Moving forward.
moving forward, where were we next?
You want to jump ahead a little bit?
We certainly can. But
Excellent. Okay. So, the first divination card that we know is specifically...
Hold on, the first... Well, no, we haven't gone... So here,
We haven't
I
gone
tell you
that
what,
far yet?
we're into the wood blocks now.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So, let's take a look at the wood blocks here.
So we got the Marseille,
And so...
and we've got the Angel definitely in full force.
We've got the Noble here, which is one of the...
That's the earliest Marseille deck.
Is one of the earliest Marseille decks. And then from there... And you want to know something interesting between the Marseille and the Visconti?
Yes.
Is that... Did you notice which hands they are pouring from?
She is holding with her right.
She is holding from her right hand.
Pouring from her with her right hand.
She is pouring from her right hand. So think about that for a second, because that has that's a big big deal.
Absolutely.
So when dealing with the cards,
Left is usually subconscious.
left is sinister.
Well,
Left is in Latin. Left is sinister. Right is dexter.
or it could also be thought as left as the
Passive.
subconscious.
So the right is active.
Yep.
Left is passive.
Yep.
So here we have. So the question that gets asked then is that when they first came out with the Noble, which is one of the earliest ones, and we also looked at the other one. Did they just do a reverse? They looked at all these other ones, because most of the other ones, again, they're on the right hand, the active hand pouring into the passive, and then so is this just a wood block where
And
they
it just
went
got
backwards?
flipped, yep.
And then everybody else
Followed suit.
decided to go with that because so we go into the 1760s, early 17. This is like 1701 for this one,
Yep.
and they all start moving forward from there. And then the other thing is that they decided on these early ones not to show feet.
Yeah, she's got the
So
flowing
she's
robes.
kind of got one there in the 1701, but the 1659, 1660. So again, in divination, again in reading the cards, is somebody grounded? Is somebody's feet there? So, but these are some of the earliest, and then you wanted to move on to some of the other ones?
Yeah. So the Teliathoth, which is this one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually a later deck. His first one was in 1789, but this is the 1870 version. She's holding in her hand an elephant bridle. In an earlier version of this deck, you can actually see the elephant too.
Yep.
But the bridle representing self-restraint.
Yep.
And so it fits in.
Bridling your passions.
There you go. Exactly. But interesting, instead of the second cup, we've got this elephant bridle, which is kind of weird. But that's Italia. He always has to be different.
And you'll find a lot of early artwork that does have. I didn't have time to actually grab it, but a lot of early artwork, Temperance, and it's showing the bridle as the representation.
Right, which is, I like the cups better, and the magical water.
and the magical water.
Yeah.
And how it flows.
Defying gravity and flowing well. But then you get to the Oswald Wirth, and he's following the Marseille pattern.
Yep. And Oswald Wirth is the 1889.
Yep.
And then,
But you notice the flower actually on the earliest Marseille, you've got the Noble. It's a flower, and this turns into a solar sign.
or even a third eye.
Well, it's you could say
So yeah, and I understand, but yes. So I've heard people refer to this as possibly a third eye.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go for that, but I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, it's the sign for the sun, so it's a solar symbol which fits in a little bit better with the whole divine will, the fire,
Right.
and mastered by the material world. Which is, again, if you're linking this back to the number 4, which is the Emperor, it's mastery over the physical world, and so this is on a higher level, mastery of the physical world, but it's that divine will, that fire. Being mixed with the water, so it's the your divine will having power over your physical will. Yeah,
because people assume, the first thing you think of is water and wine. And that's just a natural first thought without even reading about it. Maybe somebody must say it somewhere or something, because we all go to that. But it's actually just a mixture of anything.
Right.
Tempering.
You're pouring
anything.
it back and forth.
It could be,
Yep.
and it could be your anger being tempered by your love. It could be, anything like that, where you are bringing it under control.
Or trying to find that equal measure. So you're pouring it back, pouring it a little bit back, back and forth to get the equal. It's like when I make a cocktail for my wife, and she always like, which one's bigger? I'm like, I made them equal.
Yeah, and it's like, so the J.M. Davidson book, which is a really good book on learning the tarot, he's got he covers a whole part on it about, making sure to keep in mind that it's not just water. It's just so he talks about the metaphysical outpouring of the gift of love to fill another vessel.
Right.
So I mean, who's saying that they're actually mixing anything? It could be an empty vessel that you are pouring or filling up, as he says that the gift of love to fill another one. It's the act of flowing from one location to another. So don't just think of it as mixing. It could actually just be a giving, a flowing, moving from one point to another. Mm-hmm. So,
but it's finding that balance that is, you're not. To take it back to the drinking of a watered down wine. It's the point is not to get drunk. The point is just to enjoy the drink. It's the.
Well, actually, and so I just went over to the note. It's like, so also J.M. Davidson also is like, okay, so a lot of times things aren't just accidental. And going back to the left and right, he also mentions because the game of tarot is considered a game of chance, a game of gambling.
Yep.
So was it intentionally inversed? Did the game of tarot lead to an impulse of the inverse of temperance, the opposite of temperance? Because we have the gambling, we have the drinking, we have all the things that are associated with it. It's party time.
Right.
So we're going to take this, we're going to say, here's where you're pouring in the virtue. Well, let's go ahead and tilt it around with the left hand,
but
let's have a little bit of fun with it.
Or the flip side, you can think of it as the left being the subconscious side, the higher side.
Yeah, but that's not going to come along until later. We're talking about some dudes in the 1400s who are getting trashed, and they're trying to sell these decks.
I see. Okay.
No.
Can we move forward?
Well, okay. In the 1400s, metaphysical had not come into play yet.
That you know of.
100% fact. I know for
That's not fact.
Prove
it.
Fact.
Prove it.
Okay, you can't prove a negative.
Well, you can't prove it positive.
Actually, you can. So unless you can show something that says that the person who was carving these decks,
yes,
specifically said, I am going to imbibe the power of left and right upon thee.
We don't know.
Okay.
But, okay.
So that, again, you can't prove a negative.
Well, I can't prove it.
Okay, so I enjoy the speculation.
Good.
I wallow in the speculation.
But
you can't. I start with the base of reality.
Sure, but the whole all right.
Okay.
Again, we're going down
Yes,
that
because if
rabbit
we
hole
do that, then we might as well say that the cards are actually created in Egypt.
No.
Okay, and that each one of these
We know we can
know
trace
for
it
a
back
fact-
we can trace it back to Italy.
Yes.
Because we've found.
and we can trace it back to biblical references and things like that. But no, when these cards were being created,
But we're
were
sidetracking because
just
we've had this conversation
okay.
before.
Okay.
But we like to repeat ourselves. But I've got so much more.
Okay,
that I
well,
need
go
to
ahead,
share.
go ahead. Okay, yep,
All right.
yep.
All right. So, what we got? So, moving forward to. Can I go to Rider-Waite now?
Well, let's just go ahead and show what we have left here because we move forward in time. And so we have like the Swiss JJ where now we're starting to get more of this is an Italian, it's based on the Italian deck, the Bescon deck.
Right.
And so we start getting a little bit more arty here and moving away from some of the other ones. And now this one's also got it in the right hand. And then we have an 1880 here. It's an anonymous author for this deck here.
Ancient Italia.
Yep. And so we also have here another one. This is a beautiful deck right here.
Yeah, I really
which
like
is
this
a
one.
Vincetta 1893.
Yep.
And so for the game, they've definitely started moving it forward, and it's starting to branch out to different parts of the world. And then you already pulled up the Oswald Wirth, which is 1889.
Yeah.
So you want to go to?
Can we go to Rider-Waite?
Would you like to go to the Rider-Waite?
Oh, just to start.
Okay.
There's just so much that I can unpack with this one. So the Rider-Waite. So you've got this. Well, first of all, you've got the square here representing the material world, mastered by the triangle, which is the representing fire and the divine will, again,
Right.
which I already talked about. But look what it's pointing to. This is the Tetragrammatron, the name of God written here in Hebrew, right above the arrow.
Yep.
Right there. And then up on her forehead is the solar symbol for her sun. So she's got the sun is on her forehead, and instead of the sun down here in the landscape, we've got a crown. See the crown there? And that is so it's kind of a reverse there. We've got the landscape wears the crown, which represents illumination. The middle road, because the temperance middle road leads us to the illumination. But she wears the sun on her forehead because she's the virtue.
Right.
And then down here, she's got the balance: 1 foot on land, 1 foot on water. She's got this.
Well, let's focus on that for a second.
Yep.
Because so then what is water generally represented as?
Subconscious.
Subconscious,
Yep.
spirituality.
This is the same water that flows from the High Priestess to all the other cards.
Right, so it's a flow of the possibly the divine again and the mortal, the earthly.
Yep.
So we have, she walks both along both and mixing both of them again. That's where it could be the wine is the divine and the water is the earthly.
Right. But look at, so in addition to the golden crown here, we've also got golden flowers on the other side, which is suggesting that to enjoy, stop and smell the flowers, enjoy the journey of life. Yes, we should be concerned with getting to the divine after life, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't enjoy the physical world on the way.
Right.
So there's both balancing the other, the golden on the gold, finding that golden mean again.
Right.
But
and yellow is also enlightenment.
yes, exactly. And then in the water, oftentimes you'll see. Now this gets interesting. So the water in a lot of decks, you'll see that as portrayed as a rainbow, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff on that. So but before I get to that, going back to the flower that's an iris, not and Iris is the Greek goddess of. She was kind of like the female Hermes. She's a messenger of the gods, the equivalent to Hermes, and she poured her water from her vessel and to create the rain. So that's kind of the whole connection there to Temperance. But she was personified as a rainbow. Now, the rainbow, like going back to the water being displayed as a rainbow, the rainbow. Okay, so
now you're getting all excited.
I know. Okay, it gets a little crazy here, so bear with me. The Golden Dawn links the card with Sagittarius.
Yes.
The Hebrew word for rainbow is kashet. The ancient Israelites also called the zodiac sign Sagittarius kashet because the archer's bow is like a rainbow. So, and so it's all connected.
The universe is connected.
I know, but the whole Sagittarius is so it's this archer that is half man, half beast, and it's the higher mind controlling the lower natures of the beast, right? So he's shooting his arrow at Scorpio, and Scorpio represents the lower mind. Right, the sun, as it travels through the heavens, bear with me. It passes through the head or the mind of Sagittarius. So stop. Come on.
Okay, keep going.
And then the opposite of the structured mind is the scattered mind, which is Gemini. Mm-hmm. And you see that. So that's the connecting it to the Lover's card.
Where are you pulling all this from?
So
somebody sat down and actually said connect the dots.
Yes.
No, I can.
There's lots
I
of
do
dots.
understand what you're saying. Yeah, there's a lot of dots there,
and it's all connected.
And it almost sounds like one of those things we
conspiracy theory. You're like, thanks.
One of those things where you want to put in the notes to actually show all the dots because it's like as you start moving along, it's like
I need a pegboard.
Yeah,
I need a peg.
And
that's lots of string.
And that proves that the butler did it.
But isn't this fun? but anyway, going to where's my curly deck? All right, ready for some extra fun?
So I knew you were going to pull this out,
yes.
And specifically because I thought that the importance of the Golden Dawn, which
yes.
I'm sure you would like to touch on,
absolutely,
of the lion and the eagle.
Yes. So notice how the lion is white, like an eagle usually is, and the eagle is now red. Everything's switched.
Oh, and he calls it art.
He does call it art. Okay, so we should back up. Temperance is called art in the Thoth deck. Mm-hmm. The figure is a fusion between the emperor and the empress. So you saw them before in the Lover's card. And but everything's flipped. So you got the Black King, but he's got gold hair and a silver crown, usually what the Empress has. And you got the White Queen, she's got black hair and a gold crown. Everything is mixed together. They become the same person.
It's the blending.
Exactly. It's that equilibrium. You're combining fire and water. So the Magus was Mercury, the Empress is salt, the Emperor is sulfur, and when you mix and balance, it creates this vitriol, the universal solvent, and that dissolves old life in order to create new life. Now look down at the cauldron here, and in the cauldron, you can see very faintly there's a skull with a raven on it. Can you see that? It's right there.
Skull with a raven on it.
Right there.
Right on the cusp of the. Okay.
Right there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
Do you see that? Here we go.
It's kind of fuzzy. On
I see it now. So it's magnified here. So that looks okay. I can totally see it now.
Yeah. So that is because the cauldron represents death. So this is like the next, like the.
Look at that zoom.
Yeah, that's great.
Normally it goes blurry. No, I'm not gonna move it now.
but yeah. So it's all about like that death is the next step, but the alchemy of art, of temperance, is getting it ready for it's your again your basically what you're doing is the temperance allows the transcendence of the ego rather than its destruction. So progress is movement is life, and the water moves between the two containers, the body and spirit in harmony. That kind of thing. So it's that magical act kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
It's all
it's that blending again.
Yeah, it's all about the blending. Yep. And around the circle here, the writing there.
Yes.
Around the circle is written something that translates as visit the interior parts of the earth by rectification, thou will find the hidden stone. And this is talking about the philosopher's stone, of course,
okay.
aka illumination. But that's what temperance is, again, all about, is you're being illuminated by mixing together these things. And you find this all in alchemy art, the whole the 1 foot on the land and 1 foot in the water, that's an alchemy art all the time as well. So it's that blending, it just is repeated again and again.
Well, I guess I could bring up the Greek word arete, or A-R-E-T-E, which means virtue.
Okay.
And I found this interesting quote which on arete, and I think this was Plato. Why did I not put this in here?
Source.
I know. Which implies a constant striving for perfection and self-improvement. Oh, I know why I was going to go. Okay, you know what? Keep going there because I have something.
No, tell me.
Well, no, because are you ready to move on to something else? You know with that?
Yeah, you can tell me.
Okay.
You got my curiosity.
Here's the question.
Okay.
So we did death.
Yes.
From death we moved to temperance.
Right.
Why are we moving to the devil after temperance?
Well, like I said, so temperance is giving you the virtue to get through these trials.
You want to hear something interesting? And again, I think it's Plato, and I'll source this out. I'm almost positive.
Okay. What else you got?
So temperance, striving for the Greek word arete, virtue, which implies a constant striving for perfection and self-improvement, combined with a humble awareness that such perfection cannot be reached as long as an individual strives to do and be the best. That individual has arete, but as soon as the individual believes he has achieved arete, so in other words, you are humble as you acknowledge you will always be striving for arete. Okay, that's humility.
Right.
But
you're more than just the charioteer. You have this grace now.
Yes, so you're striving to do and be the best individual. That individual has arete. As soon as the individual believes he has actually achieved arete, however, he or she has lost that exalted state and fallen into hubris, unable to recognize personal limitations or the humble need to constantly improve.
Right.
So arete is virtue. What it's saying is that this is a virtue here, and then once you think you've achieved that virtue, you've now achieved hubris, which will then lead down the path to the devil.
Yeah.
So you have death.
You got to be humble about you having these gifts.
And from death, we gain the wings. Why? Because we go to an angelic state. In that angelic state, we're trying to become that perfect being. And when we strive to do this, we're humble.
That's an interesting.
So eventually we think we become godlike and hubris, which then leads to the path of the devil.
That's an interesting spin on it. Yeah, and I can see that. I can see it that way.
So I thought that was interesting.
It is.
To why the three would lead like that.
Right.
Because why the devil would be over top of temperance.
Well, see, and again, I like to see it as you are going to have these trials and tribulations. You're going to see the devil. You're going to see the tower. A lot of stuff is going to get really dark soon. So what do you need to get through this? Is you get the virtue first.
Yep. And that's exactly what I'm doing. The Fool's Journey. That's what we're talking about with the Fool's Journey.
Right.
But with the game, the devil triumphs over it. The devil triumphs over temperance.
Yeah.
Why? And that's
a good reason.
That's
a good reason.
Because I was wondering, why would it? And that's the only reason I could come up with.
Yeah. That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Yes. Okay. Sagittarius. Yeah, we got through that. Okay. Oh, going back to if you want some more Christianity, some religion.
Yes. Oh yes.
And so Revelation 10, 1 through 2 describes the great angel thought to be Michael, who stands with 1 foot on land and 1 foot on the sea, with a rainbow on his face, on his head, and a face that radiates like the sun. So if that doesn't tie up all the symbology of temperance and like into one little nice knotted bow.
And as we talk about often, it's so Rider Waite is one that's most popular, and Waite definitely was more on the religious Christian side of the things.
Yes.
Of the deal. Yep. So what else have you got?
Okay, last thing.
Because we are almost to the point where...
Almost to the point where we can do a reading.
Yeah. So, see how it looks in the mean.
Gwen
does state, Michael is the source now, so I will remember that. I'm going to write that down.
I am the source. But,
the source of all things.
Well, many things.
That's the hubris.
Yes.
We'll cover that next week.
Uh-oh. The devil. So in my tarot deck that I'm working on, I am including an ermine. And there is mythically they prefer death rather than to sully their white coat. Is how the story goes.
I remember something about that.
Yeah.
What is
it
when it's trapped, it could chew its own leg off, but instead of doing that, it would, instead of sullying its own coat, it'd rather die or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. So in some of these temperance cards, and this is the secret tarot, you'll see this little white ermine pop up his head, which is kind of cute. And so I'm including an ermine.
And what tarot is this?
This is the secret tarot.
The secret. Shh. Okay. Everybody, I'm showing this to you, but in secret.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a wonderful deck. This is. I think I'll use this for my
I've
reading
seen that
today.
one online. I do not have that one.
It's a pretty one.
Okay.
So yes, let's do a reading, and I'll use the secret tarot for mine.
Can I mention something that I actually had learned a while ago? And so in the morning, I do the morning meditation. I try and do it. And there is an interesting meditation. I don't know if this would affect everybody the same way it does with me. And it deals with temperance, and I had read about this. Mm-hmm. Is sitting in the chair, imagining, with your eyes closed, imagining that you have wings. Mm-hmm. Okay? And you imagine with your hands in your lap that you have 2 hands. And that one hand is pouring the liquid from one to the other.
Okay.
Knowing that the liquid could change color. Knowing that you want it to be clear and white. Mm. But now that I've said that, you'll realize it's hard to actually do because I've just said there's an elephant in the room, right?
Right.
And it is
need a bridle.
It is a really good meditation to sit there and just imagine having wings, because now you've got to stay stable like the angel would.
Yep.
Concentrating on your back being straight because you're supporting your wings. You're lifting up the jug. You're pouring that jug. And normally you would just say, well, it's going to be white. But since I've said that now, it's like, it's actually hard starting out to focus to keep it a clear white.
You can do it. You can do it.
That's a really good meditation, in case. So now what we want to do is that we always want to see how the card looks in the when we do a reading.
Right.
And so we speculate with our readings here. And you know what? I'm going to use the Italian deck.
Excellent.
Just for the
classic
heck of it.
All right. You go first this time, Jamie.
Okay, so let's see what we have here. Also, because I do like the devil in this one too. The Diablo.
Diablo.
Okay, so here we have the Italian deck. So, you know what? I'm not going to shuffle.
No. Yeah, leave that one out.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to see how the card looks in an actual live reading.
When it reacts to other cards.
Yeah, because the card, we can say anything with the card, but until we see what it's actually doing, we
don't know the full story.
We don't know the full story. So I'm just going to do the quick fake shuffle, like it's fake, right?
Everything's real.
Everything's real. Okay, so.
Therefore, everything's a dream.
Now, if I was to do a reading on Temperance, then I'm wondering why I would be struggling. Let's think about it for a second. Why I'm struggling to have temperance. It could be anger. It could be a negative thing like addiction or something like that. Somebody could be wondering, why. So I would say, what is the issue that we're having is here, because that's the lower jar.
Okay.
And what's going to give us the strength to move past it, which is the upper jar. So that's going to fill this jar here with whatever strength we need, is how I would just do this if I was doing it off the cuff.
Yeah, and you're.
So this is the issue, which is the 10 of coins. So the 10 of coins is about things have come to, completion.
Yeah.
And 10s are about starting over new because you've reached that point now and everything is settled. So maybe part of the issue is that things have gotten too good, that we take things for granted. We have that hubris. We take things for granted when we finally reach that pinnacle goal. And so maybe the problem is that we've reached this pinnacle goal. I mean, why do millionaires commit suicide, right? Mm. Why are they depressed? Because we think we have everything we need, and guess what?
Money can buy happiness.
Yep. We strive to get what we think, and so this is what we need, which is the 3 of Swords. So the 3 of Swords is an intervention almost. So swords are about thought. Swords are about an action. So when you have 2 swords, you have that decision that you need to make. And maybe the person with the 10 knows that there's an issue, knows they're not happy. Even though they have everything they think they should have, there's that indecision. And so with that 3 of Swords, they're going to have to cut something away, and they're going to have to recognize it, and and that's what is going on. So what is it that they need to actually cut away to find that satisfaction finally?
Find that peace.
So here's the strength. So this cup here is pouring the resolution, and it says you have to finally let something go. You need to make that decision. You can't just sit there with indecision anymore. What is in this cup? What is going to make that decision to finally help you find that peace that you had strived so hard to get your whole life?
Right.
That's how I would see the cups in a reading just off the fly.
Works for me.
Okay.
Nicely done.
That's why I'm paid the big bucks.
All right, let's see how I can follow that. We have Temperance from the Secret Tarot. And
that is a beautiful card.
This deck is one of my favorites. And
that's got to be a Lascaro, because it's got all the extra ones.
No, actually, this is a Llewellyn.
Oh, Llewellyn, wow. Oh, okay. Llewellyn actually gets them from there.
Oh, yeah, they're in cahoots.
This is the American import.
That's right. Llewellyn and Scarborough are in cahoots. I forgot about that. Okay, so to the left, we're doing... I liked what you had said. What was that again? I'm gonna do the same thing.
Well, yeah.
So you were saying.
Well, the issue or what needs to be overcome.
Overcome on this side, and what to look for to help you overcome it.
What can give you the strength?
What can give you
so
that?
You have this cup down here, and we need to find out what we need to fill that cup with.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see what we can do. All right. So on this side we have the 2 of Cups. So this is usually about partnership and love. Mm-hmm. This is usually a very positive card, but to see that in the negative side, in how did you describe it again? This is the
Well, this is the issue. This is the issue. Yes.
And the issue is the happy partnership.
Well, also, I mean, when we're considering the position and things like that, again,
not every partnership is
right.
healthy.
So we have this relationship, but did finally having that relationship solve all the problems?
Of course not. Yeah, well, not in this case. So yeah. So and sometimes
and remember, we're not doing reversals a lot of times with these. So I don't know. Is this deck a reversal deck?
It may have reversals in it. I'm not sure. I just shuffled it up, but
or this could be two other people.
Right.
So if we're talking to somebody, we're gonna say, is this a relationship or is this could this be two other people?
Right. It would absolutely, if I'm reading for somebody, there would be some give and take here. But reading blind, let me continue here.
Yes.
So the Two of Wands. So it could, in this position, mean that this partnership is not a good one. Because not every partnership is. Sometimes it can hold you back. It can enable you into doing self-destructive habits. So not every person is a good match, and maybe this person is not the right match for you. But going forward, what is the strength that could be recommended? And you've got the Sun. And you've got the twins there. And the Sun is about as positive as it gets. So relying on maybe your own higher self, finding that spirituality from a higher source to help you through. Maybe it's time to cut ties with this person that is holding you back and connect with the Sun, finding that true self. And what they say is when you are ready for the right relationship, that'll find you. So if you're not ready for it and you keep going into the repeating pattern of self-destruction with people that are no good for you, that can be overcome by fixing yourself first, and then the relationship will find you.
This is a wonderful deck,
isn't it?
I mean, okay, you know me, I'm the storyteller, and if I was going to write a poem or tell a story about this, because that's it. So since I did a deck that had the pips, the stories are different. But this, I've never seen the deck before. But Temperance is holding this love potion here because there's something wrong with this relationship.
Something's wrong. Something's off.
But but they love each other. It's this relationship. And she's like, we need to find, maybe it's like that 10 of Cups and we take things for granted. Maybe it's gone on too far. And so maybe what she's doing is she's offering them enlightenment to maybe they can strip down to the bare, to where they were. I mean, these are like children. It's like,
find their inner, their goodness.
Yeah. Break through all that cold, that ice, bare your soul.
That's
so you need to be willing to bare your soul to your partner and become that innocent again.
And if
that's beautiful,
right? And sometimes that's not possible with the partners that we choose. Right. Sometimes it is. And sometimes they'll meet you.
I just saw that. That's just a story that popped in my head.
I like that story, and it's a more positive one than cutting ties. If you're, especially if you're in a marriage.
She looks almost motherly here. I mean, she looks young.
Yep.
But wise.
But wise. It's Temperance is.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm gonna get that deck.
Let me show you my feed.
That
here.
Is beautiful deck.
Yeah. But yeah. So sometimes you need to find that higher source, that sunshine can give you what you need, and you can be enlightened.
So,
indeed,
there we go. That was, every time we do a card, it's like, how are we going to talk about it for an hour?
And it flies by.
I know.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yep.
And next week
is going to be Le Diable.
The Devil. So tune in next.
That's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, my name's Jamie. And
I'm Michael.
And where can we find you, Michael?
ArtieForever.com, OffBeatArtwork.com, and MyTarot.org.
Yep.
For Jamie.
And
And MyTarot on Facebook.
Yep. Hang around here and you can get hold of us easy.
Yeah.
And You are very welcome. Gwen has been like the greatest audience member we've ever had.
Aw. Thanks for watching, Gwen.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, take
so
care.
I'll talk to you all next week. Bye.
Yeah, you want to see this deck?
Yes.
It's a really pretty one.
Let me see it.